Welcome back to Platinum Unplugged. Hope you guys liked our surprise video at the end of last week's episode. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and click on that video and watch it for us. Did you guys like that?
We enjoyed
Very
Ryan
good.
Reynolds.
Good selection.
Yeah.
So again, I'm Rhett Sowie, your host. I am patient advocate for Dr. Reba Rawl. Guests with me today are Dr. Michael Chapman and Dr. Emily Abear.
Hello.
So let's dive right into this. What updates can you give us, Dr. Chapman, about what's going on in the DFW area and that
Yes.
timeline?
Well, that's always a moving target, and lots actually changed since last week. Unfortunately, the peak date, what I said last week, is now moved as of today to April 29th. And I think when we look at the peak dates, we're looking at the state of Texas, not just Dallas. Encouragingly, in Dallas, we've seen the number of cases go down the last 2 days from over 100 to the 70s and even 60s yesterday. I don't know if that's just because it was the weekend and there wasn't as much reporting. Are we going to see a new surge today? I don't know. But unfortunately, in Harris County and down in Houston, those numbers have really taken off. You know, there are over 3,600 cases there and over 1,700 in Dallas. And I think we're seeing a move back from the peak because of that surge. So all I'd say is do your due diligence, stay home, stay socially distanced. You're doing your part. We're going to get through this.
And what about treatments? Anything new, any updates on treatments?
As far as treatments, yesterday it was released in the New England Journal of Medicine early results of a study with remdesivir showing that these were just preliminary, but out of 54 critically ill patients, 68% had a recovery. So those are looking promising. Again, that's an IV medicine that's being used in the hospital, not for outpatient use. Other studies are still going on with chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine plus azithromycin. A study with hydroxychloroquine was suspended over the weekend because of cardiac arrhythmias, and that was due that these were the patients in a higher dose of the chloroquine. And studies are ongoing with the hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin. And honestly, I think when it comes down to what is going to be the medication that takes care of this, just like we give Tamiflu for influenza, it's not going to be any of these medicines. I think it'll be something else.
And hopefully a vaccine.
Yes,
Yeah.
and hopefully a vaccine.
So some of the questions we're getting from our patients, Dr. Abear, I'm going to refer this to you, supplements, like what can they be taking to kind of boost their immune system?
Sure.
What supplements should they be taking?
Great question. I think primarily we always try to advocate that our patients get most of what they need in terms of vitamins and minerals through their diet, but we all know, and our patients know, that there's some things that are hard to get, like vitamin D. And certainly vitamin D has a lot of different uses and purposes in the body, and so ensuring that you're taking a vitamin D supplement. If you refer back to your physical that you had in the last year, your doctor probably told you exactly how much you want to be taking. Typically, it's around 2,000 international units on a daily basis. That's usually what gets our patients where we need it to be. The Cooper multivitamin, the Cooper Basic 1, with and without iron, actually has 2,000 international units. So if you're taking the Cooper Basic 1 or even any of the other Cooper multivitamins, you're getting enough vitamin D in that supplement, so you don't necessarily need to add any extra on. A lot of studies have been done on zinc, and actually I've told a lot of my patients that zinc has been shown not necessarily to prevent illness, but certainly people who have viral illnesses like the common cold or the flu, they have found that those people, when they start taking higher doses of zinc, around 50 milligrams, will have a less severe course and perhaps may even get better quicker. It's not going to be a treatment, it's not going to get rid of it, and it probably won't prevent it. But certainly there has been some data prior to COVID that zinc can be a definitely helpful adjunct to viral illness treatment. And then vitamin C is one that I've long been on the fence about. But in thinking about today's podcast, I did some reading, and interestingly, there's a lot of data that supports vitamin C's role in our immune function. So people way back when, sailors who became vitamin C deficient, had developed scurvy. And what they found in scurvy patients was that they would develop pneumonia. And so people started thinking, well, gee, vitamin C and infections, there must be some sort of relationship. And so there have been many, many studies that look at vitamin C and its role in fighting infection and treating infection. Unfortunately, there's nothing definitive, but I certainly think during this uncertain time where we're trying to stay healthy, trying to prevent getting COVID, doing all the other things that we should be doing, social distancing, washing our hands, etc. Adding on some vitamin C, if you're not already doing it, might not be a bad idea.
What do you think dosing-wise with zinc and C?
Sure. So zinc, the studies have looked at about 50 milligrams. And the issue with zinc, although the studies have been promising, is that there is some GI irritation. So that seems to be the rate-limiting issue with zinc, is it gives you a stomach ache, literally. So if you're taking it and you're getting a stomach ache, it may not be appropriate for you. With vitamin C, there's no data specifically for dose, but typically around 1,000 milligrams. And of course, you can get tons of vitamin C in your diet as well, but if you're unsure that if you're getting enough, I think adding on 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C isn't a bad idea. There haven't been any studies that show toxicity associated with high vitamin C intake. Usually you'll excrete it in your urine, so it's not a significant issue.
And don't forget, Platinum members, you do get a 20% discount on any of the Cooper vitamins that you do want to purchase.
Yeah, excellent.
Perfect. Question for you, Dr. Chapman.
Yeah.
Antibody testing. We've been talking about testing. There's all sorts of testing that they're starting and wanting to start. What can you tell us about the antibody testing?
Yes. All right. So right now, the testing that is available is through a nasal swab, which actually looks for the virus itself. Antibody testing is ramping up. And really that is going to be the key to when can you re-enter society. So when you look at antibody testing, there's several different types of antibodies. Typically the IgM antibody is present during an acute infection. What you really want to look at is the IgG antibody, which shows past infection or exposure that you have antibodies to this. So back in March, the FDA did waive the requirement of FDA approval for certain commercial labs, that if they can produce this, they can produce it commercially and distribute. The issue is that what's called the neutralizing antibody, what will attack the infection, has yet to be identified. So even though we, within the coming weeks, we're going to be able to test people for IgG antibodies, does that really show that you are immune to this disease? And we really won't know until these people go back into the workforce and we see, are there cases of reinfection? Because you've probably read about this, of the reinfection. I think South Korea, as of yesterday, had approximately 100 people that have COVID that have been reinfected. So, although that's promising, it's not the golden ticket of immunity. And really what is going to be is when a pill is developed that we can take that will shorten the length of illness, that will prevent asymptomatic spread. That's what we really need, Rhett.
Okay. All good information. Hope you guys are getting all that. And again, any question you guys have, please send that out to us, and we'll try to get to those in our next video. Right now, we're going to go take a little break. When we do return, we're going to be talking food and nutrition. Welcome back to Platinum Unplugged. How do you like the little walk outside?
Yeah, it felt awesome. Feels great outside to get
It's
some
great.
fresh air.
Stretch the legs and everything.
Yeah.
So we're joined today with Cooper Clinic dietitian Lizzie McCreary.
Hi, everyone. Like Rhett said, my name is Lizzie McCreary. I'm one of the dietitians here at Cooper. I was born and raised in Dallas, Texas, and I did my training at Baylor University Medical Center to become a dietitian. I've been an RDN for 5 years now. I've been at Cooper for 2 years, and I specialize in adult weight management, and primarily my focus is overseeing the weight loss program here at Cooper.
Great. So before the break, we were talking with the doctors about supplements that our patients could be taking to kind of help boost their immune system.
Yes.
So in your wheelhouse, what foods can our patients be eating to help boost their immune systems?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, because really everyone is looking to see, what can we do to control the situation, or at least have a sense of control in the situation where we don't have much control. And a good point is our diet. So what we choose to eat and, our physical activity, all of that is something that we can control. So I say that in the hopes of empowering us that we can feel better physically, but also even aside from physique or for personal preferences, we can also eat well for our immune system. So You bring up an excellent point, and the foods for our immune system really are going to be healthy, wholesome foods. So things that are nutrient dense, stuff that dietitians have probably been preaching for years. So it's going to be things like whole grains, lean proteins, low-fat dairy, lots of fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, and lots of hydration. So good old-fashioned water. Those are going to be the things that really are going to help us not only feel better physically, but help our immune system fight off disease.
Okay. And so in order to get all these, we need to go to the store. So one of
Yes.
the questions that we had was, how do I maximize a trip to the grocery store to get those healthier foods?
Yeah, that's a great question, because the idea is to limit the amount of trips that we're taking to the store. So instead of going multiple times a week for a few things here and there, we do want to maximize our time at the store so that we can really shelter in place. So while we're there, and for the record, a lot of the food supply is still strong. So we don't necessarily need to worry about hoarding food or overdoing it in terms of purchasing food, because there will be enough supply, provided that not everyone is, buying 15 cans of black beans. But in all seriousness, in order to make sure that we have enough for the next 1 to 2 weeks is what I would recommend, just to make sure that we're not having to take too many trips out of the house. So with that in mind, there's really all sorts of good things that we can get from all of the food groups and still be able to have a healthy, wholesome, nutritious diet with shelf-stable foods. So I'll start with proteins. And proteins can really freeze quite well. So even if we stock up on certain proteins to last us for the next 1 to 2 weeks, they'll stay really well in the freezer. So these things can be, it can range from ground beef and lean ground turkey meat. It can be chicken breast. It could be lean pork tenderloin, lean sirloin steak, and of course fish. So fish freezes well. You can even get frozen shrimp that cooks quite easily once you take it out of the freezer. Frozen salmon fillets or cod, halibut, whatever you like. So all of those are good, wholesome proteins that you can have in the freezer. And then while I'm on the topic of the freezer, there is no shame in purchasing frozen fruits and vegetables or canned fruits and vegetables. So that is the good news, is they are not any less nutritious just because they're not fresh. So if people are worried about making their foods last longer, primarily their produce, which typically goes bad a little bit faster, we can have frozen fruits and veggies. So that runs the gamut. That could be frozen broccoli and spinach and mixed vegetables. That could be frozen berries or frozen mango, whatever you like. There's edamame out there that's a wonderful plant-based source of protein. So plenty of things that we can put in the freezer that'll last us a long time, but still cook well on and serve us well on the kitchen table. And then from the pantry staples, there's plenty of things like grains, peanut butter or your favorite nut butter. And with whole grains, I would definitely encourage us to stock up on things like boxed pasta. So that could be a lentil or a bean-based pasta, which has really taken a lot of popularity in the last couple of years. It could also be whole wheat pasta. And then we can shift over to rice, so brown rice, quinoa. We can get creative and do different grains like barley and farro, millet. There's all sorts of things that we could do that isn't just rice. And then, of course, there's bread, so whole grain bread, that freezes well too. Whole wheat pita pockets, corn tortillas, whole wheat tortillas. There's really all sorts of options there. And certain produce does last a little bit longer. So some of the things like shallots and onions and garlic, celery, carrots, a lot of the root vegetables will last quite a bit in the freezer. And then certain fruits and vegetables. So apples, pears, bananas can do well on the counter. Oranges, citrus fruit, those are all good options.
So I'm hearing the common thread here is ice cream and Oreos.
I did not mention ice cream or Oreos,
Oh,
but I'm glad that you brought it up though, because that can fit in our diets as well too. So during this entire crisis, there is a little bit of, food is also not only meant to be nourishing, it's not only fuel, but it's also, it brings families together, it is comfort, it is delicious, and
Well,
it's meant to be enjoyed.
Yeah, that's one of our questions that we had from a couple of our patients. I'm stress eating. Help.
Yes,
So
yes.
What would you say to them?
Yeah, it is tricky, and some of us are more prone to reaching for food in a stressful situation or just when negative emotions come up. So whether that emotion is anxiety or sadness or loneliness, if some of us are alone at home, sometimes it's boredom. So it may not be a negative emotion per se, but it might just be I'm bored and it's available. So yes, food is delicious, it is meant to be enjoyed, but we don't want it to wreak havoc on our health or our waistlines in the process. And what I would mention is, so there are definitely some real, actual, tangible recommendations aside from just getting in touch with yourself and your emotions. So first things first, I would say don't be hard on yourself. This can be stressful for us, and whether we're homeschooling kids and we didn't sign up for that, or whether we are bored and running out of things to do, there could be all sorts of emotions that we're dealing with right now. So first and foremost, do not be hard on yourself, but be kind to yourself and be patient with the process. And then number two, try to figure out why you're reaching for food. So are you bored? Are you anxious? Are you sad? Are you lonely? And if you're not in touch with your emotions, it might help to write something down in a food diary. That can help us sort of figure out what's going on and what is triggering us with this emotion, with this need for reaching for food. And then for some of the tangible recommendations, I'm a big believer in slenderizing your surroundings is what I call it. So out of sight, out of mind can be very helpful for people. So maybe instead of working in the kitchen or doing all the homeschooling in the kitchen or where all the food is, try doing it somewhere else where you're not so close to the food and you're not so close to the fridge. If it's harder to access, you're typically less likely to go for it. And on that note, maybe it helps to have healthy foods or alternatives for when you have a little snack attack. So if that is fresh cut up fruits and vegetables, having them on eyesight or in eyesight in the fridge, that can help for when you do need to go for something. At least it's not going to be something unhealthy, but actually good for our immune system, something that we had just talked about. So those can be options for us. And then of course, making sure that we ask ourselves, am I truly hungry? And if you're not hungry, you might be thirsty. You might have a hankering for something, but really you're thirsty. So try a glass of water. A cup of hot tea can be soothing, especially when you're stressed out. It could be sparkling water with lemon. That's my personal favorite. So there's all sorts of choices out there that we can go to that aren't necessarily unhealthy options for us when we're stress eating.
And if I have a hankering for an Oreo,
yes,
I can help myself to an Oreo.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. Okay. There is comfort and enjoyment to be had during these difficult times. So like I said, don't be hard on yourself. And some people have asked me, is it okay for the kids to have mac and cheese most nights of the week? And the answer is, yeah. Right now, this is temporary. This too shall pass. And try to be healthy and round out your choices. Yes, keep it balanced and do your best to keep it wholesome as best you can. But again, be kind to yourself and don't let it own you. Really try to own your stress versus letting it own you.
Good. Well, that's a lot of good information. We have a little meme we want to share with you guys. Hope you guys like it as much as we did. Well, that sounds like about what my fridge is saying. I don't know about yours, Dr. Chapman.
Just padlock it.
Yeah, padlock it.
Duct tape. Duct tape is always useful in these
And a
scenarios.
code.
Well, or just keep the scissors locked up.
Yeah.
We also want to say thank you to Lizzie. All great tips in terms of trying to stay healthy and giving ourselves a break in terms of our weight over this difficult time.
Yeah, and just stay the course. Hopefully we're through most of the social distancing and staying at home, but get outside, enjoy, get some exercise in. It's good for the mind and the body and the soul.
All right, well, that's it for today's episode. Please remember, send your emails and comments to Ronnie Gonzalez. That's R-Y Gonzalez at cooper-clinic.com, and we'll see you again next week.